hi everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so now we have to do something very, very important. Okay, we need to give a huge round of applause to the organizing team today. They've been really amazing, and I'm honored to be working with them. All right, so let's start again. So, hi everyone. Oh, okay, thank God. Whew, all right. So, my name is Harsha. I am a 16-year-old social entrepreneur, head of marketing and branding, singer, songwriter, musician, model, website and app developer, and a founding member of the nationwide youth organization Ascendence. Oh, thanks. I like you guys, all right. So Ascendance is basically a team of 4 youths, and we're a social enterprise which helps youngsters achieve holistic success, which means in terms of happiness, health, education, as well as turning their passion into a sustainable career. In other words, we help an everyday teenager from the so-called disengaged Generation Z figure out what they love doing and how they can start turning that into a career that impacts society right now at whatever age they're in. So to date, we've worked with the Ministry of Education, we've worked in tens of institutions around the country, we've impacted thousands of youngsters, and are actively working with hundreds of them to create their own sustainable careers. So the question that we often get is how? How did 4 teenagers manage to impact thousands of others? I know, right? Well, this is our story. So rewind 5 years ago, when 4 bored teenagers met at a talk show held by a social business incubator platform called ET Ideas. And personally for me, I was 11, and I felt like I was being thrown into a completely new environment of people, totally out of my comfort zone. Here were people who were social entrepreneurs, who were business owners, who were field experts and pioneers. So not the average people your 11-year-old would hang out with, right? But for some odd reason, the 4 of us kept going back there every week, same time, same place. And we had fun. We had lots of fun hanging out with these cool people. But most importantly, we started learning a lot about ourselves. We started learning about things like our subconscious mind, goal setting, things like our habit patterns, the little thing about us that we didn't really know we had, and how we could turn our own passion into careers. So today, for example, our Chief Operations Officer here is a 19-year-old international singer-songwriter who's come out in the newspaper, who's written songs that have been winning awards, who's even been the top scorer in her school's history. Today she works and earns like an adult while doing what she loves, creating change through music. But 5 years ago, she was just a 14-year-old who liked singing. Today, our Chief Content Officer, Sanit, is an 18-year-old aspiring film director who's worked on video projects for large corporations and music videos for local artists, whose works have even been nominated for the Malaysian Digital Film Awards. But 5 years ago, he was just a 13-year-old who liked movies. Like our Chief Executive Officer, Madhura, who at 21 years old and still a college student, is now the junior partner at an accounting company that helps small and medium businesses in the country contribute back to the economy and be sustainable. And she does phenomenally in college as well. But 5 years ago, she was just another lost teenager. Like me. At 16 years old, I'm an international conference speaker, yay. But I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer of Ascendence. So I work with companies and corporates to engage and spread their message to the younger generation, while helping teachers, institutions, and students work with these corporations to take what they do to the next level. But 5 years ago, I was incredibly quiet and shy. In fact, I think I've spoken more in the last 5 minutes than my entire year's worth of words when I was 11. So one day, the four of us were talking, and we were thinking, what exactly happened to us that enabled us to achieve all of this success while we were still going to school and doing quite well in school at the same time? And that's when we realized something. And this is a top secret, so keep it between us, okay? So what actually happened 5 years ago was, Hira got hit by lightning, Madhura was bitten by a radioactive spider, Sanad was hit by gamma radiation. No, okay, that didn't happen. You can laugh, it's a joke, haha. But then we realized something amazing. That there was absolutely nothing different from us from everyday teenagers. Except we were given the right platform and opportunity to figure out what we love doing and how we could do that in a way that contributed back to society. So we formed Ascendence with the aim to provide this same platform for youth everywhere, so that every youngster out there, like you and me, would have the opportunity to figure out what they love doing and achieve holistic success. And that sounds nice and all, but what do we actually do with these students, right? And we don't exactly teach them things like maths and science, because they already have phenomenal teachers who can teach them that. We just recreate our own journey of achieving success with them. So we work with these students in institutions over the period of a year. And what happens is we start off by showing them the things that we learned in the beginning. Things like goal setting, your subconscious mind, creative thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, working together. How the little things you do in life affect you as a whole without you even knowing. Things like your own habit patterns, your own characters. And how many times youngsters themselves set themselves up to fail without even being aware of it. And once we build their foundation in a solid way to get them to understand who they really are, we begin working with these youngsters to expose them to how the real world really is. Because personally, as a teenager in high school, many times my world tends to revolve around the four walls of my classroom. But now we actually get industry experts, business owners, people who pioneer amazing efforts to work with these students and show them how life is in an actual real life situation in a certain industry. So for example, one of the companies we work with is this production company called ET Boost. And they provide us all the high-end, state-of-the-art equipment and facilities for these youngsters to create their own short film. Awesome, right? But now these youngsters have to work under the conditions of an actual production company. So they have to do everything from the scripting to the directing to the filming to the producing. So now they have to put the things that they learned about in the first part into action. How do you work together when you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing? How do you see the end result when you're still in the beginning stages? How do you collaborate, think creatively, think forward? How do you work with people you don't really like? All of the things that you learn about in theory, they now learn about in the real world, in an actual situation where they're put to the test. And that's where the real learning happens. So we work with different industries to expose these youngsters to the things that they are interested in. From production to media to food and beverage to business to investment to robotics to programming, anything in any industry that we can find. And after this, these youngsters start getting an idea of the things that they like doing and the ideas that they want to work on. And that's where the fun really starts. Because now these youngsters are able to see how they can contribute back to society in the areas that they love and take these ideas and we guide them to bring them into the real world. Like for example, we notice that a lot of the youngsters we work with in different institutions are amazingly talented artists. However, they also tend to be very, very shy. So what they did is, a few of them actually came up with this social enterprise in a way, and their own platform called Creative Captains. And these youngsters now provide a platform for youth everywhere to submit their artworks, their photography to a global platform, and they get published authors, companies to look into this and engage the services of the youngsters who contributed there. Amazing, isn't it? And it's run by a team of 12 to 16-year-olds. Cool, right? But there's the other side of it as well. The side of, how do I manage clients when I've got homework to do? How do I work with different people? How do I be creative in a situation where I'm not sure what's going on? How do I be responsible in a sense? How do I manage doing many things at a time? How do I work with different generations? How do I work with my own generation? So all of the things they learned about in the first 2 sessions, they now actually have to use it to bring their own ideas to reality. And we're able to guide them because we go through the same things as well. Because we have homework too, we deal with different types of people too. And through this, we're able to show these youngsters things about their subconscious, things about who they really are, their own strengths, how to manage their weaknesses, and how to bring what they love doing to a stage where it can help other people as well. And it's through this guidance of working with these youngsters that they actually come up with phenomenal ideas and continue to change the world. So the question that we get at this point is, what about their grades? How can youngsters do well in school if they're doing so many things outside of class as well? And that's the funny thing. Because the more these youngsters work on the things that they love working on, the more it builds them as people. Things like responsibility, things like discipline, things like collaboration, creative thinking, solution-based thinking, all becomes a part of them. So these youngsters now have a new set of characteristics, a new skill set, which they can apply in their education as well. So now they use these very things to find a system that works for them to excel in their grades, as well as in every other area in their life. So here's the thing. Youngsters tend to be different from one another. So some of them can only study in the middle of the night. Some of them need to walk around. Some need to eat while they study. Some need to listen to music. But the only person who knows you best is you. So we help these youngsters realize their own strengths, make their own system which is best for them, and guide them to put this system into practice so that they can get the results that they want. So we see some youngsters improve a little bit in their grades, but we've seen some of them improve phenomenally, a majority of them doing much better than they ever thought they could. And now a youngster who would have otherwise picked a career they didn't know about or that they don't like are able to pick the courses and careers which truly matter to them, which truly draw out the skills and talents that they have. So, bottom line, can youngsters be successful, contribute back to society, and do well in class? Well, throughout the world and throughout time, we've already seen youngsters do mind-blowing things. Like, for example, at 13 years old, Kelvin Doe from Sierra Leone actually made a radio transmitter and later a generator from scrap metal, and later went on to inspire and innovate with youngsters all across Africa and all over the world. Like, at 16 years old, just last year, McKinley Butson from Australia invented this thing called smart armor, which helps reduce the effects of radiations on different parts of the body during treatment for breast cancer. At 16, and in her free time from school. Like at 13, Michael Saman learned coding from Google and made the app 4Snaps. You know, the app with 4 pictures and 1 word. Yeah, he made that. Today, he's an engineer in Facebook. People like Elengo Tiago, who at 12 years old, he's Malaysian by the way, in the 80s, actually started writing phenomenal software and later went on to revolutionize the safety and health industry in Malaysia, impacting hundreds and thousands of lives. He's our mentor, by the way, who later founded the social business incubator we're from. And he served to show us one thing, that youngsters can do phenomenal things while they are still kids, in a sense, but things that impact societies. And today, Ascendence is working with close to 100 youngsters who are already creating their own sustainable careers. We have 16-year-old artists, 13-year-old inventors in green technology, 12-year-old photographers, 16-year-old video producers. We have 15-year-old musicians, tons of youngsters in various different fields, already working on their own sustainable careers, already working on creating change in the world, and doing well in school at the same time. What we are doing is making this the new normal. Making it normal for youngsters to be able to do what they love, and at the same time contributing back towards solving world problems. We are in discussions now to work with like-minded people in Singapore, in Kathmandu, Nepal, to actually recreate similar platforms all over the world. Because we realize something. For the world to change, we need to work with the world. The world needs to work together. So we're working with higher institutions, we're working with NGOs, companies, everyday people like you and me, people around the world, who all believe that every single one of us can create change. Because we were just 4 teenagers, and we impacted thousands of others. What if there were 10 of us? What if there were 50? What if every single one of us in this room right now was able to do that? What if there were 1,000 of us? Maybe even 1,000,000? Why not a whole generation? World problems like climate change, poverty, inequality would crumble at our feet. And all you have to do is step a little bit out of your comfort zone and come work with us to create your own dots that connect towards solving world problems. So in the words of my mentor, just to end off today, he says this: the wiser and experienced generation must guide, but the young must lead. It's your future, so claim it. Thank you.